Okay, welcome everyone back to my comfy couch. Y'all say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
What? We're not. Okay, everybody say hi when y'all get on the chat, okay? I'm gonna let everyone do their introductions while we wait for people to come on. Tonight we try and StreamYard, okay? We're trying a little something different. Y'all let us know if this is y'all first time joining. Say hi, let us know who you are, what you're doing, where you're from. Our conversation tonight is about celibacy. So I'm Nicole, the host. I'm gonna let everyone else come on and introduce themselves. Bernard, go ahead and get started for us.
Hey, everybody know me. I'm Bernard. You know, it's too easy. That's it. That's all you gotta know. I'm Bernard.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all I want to disclose right now. We talking about a very, very touchy topic right now. So that's all I want to say right now.
Okay.
Maybe at the end. Maybe at the end.
Oh Lord. Bernard, for the camera, let us know how old you are. Hi Anisha, welcome.
Well. I am 41 years old. I'll be 42 next month.
Okay. Ooh, your
Lord
birthday
willing.
coming up. All
That's
right.
right. That's right. Scorpio in the building.
Oh, pop. Any Scorpios on the line? Adina, tell me what's up. Tell us about you, Adina.
Hey, everybody. I am Adina. I am a 39-year-old. Everything to everybody. Okay.
Okay. All right. Tori, say hi.
What's going on?
How old are you, Tori?
Since I just turned it, I have to remember. 43
Oh, Lord, 43. Okay. So we missed your birthday. When was your birthday?
last month. Actually, it
Oh,
was exactly 30 days ago.
oh, okay. Happy belated birthday. Thaddeus, what's up?
Hey, hi, I'm Thaddeus, the hostess with the mostest. And
Wow. Oh, so now you claiming us now?
mhm,
How old
that's
are
for
you,
tonight,
Thad?
because tonight's topic is something that I actually enjoy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Why?
this is one of the topics I actually really wanted to go in on, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll see how reserved I am because it is live and you can't edit out my bad behavior. So
So you'll hold it down for us tonight.
yeah,
Okay. We
I'm gonna hold it down.
appreciate you.
He made sure we weren't interrupting a meeting for this one.
Exactly, I have to
Thaddeus,
get
so
off. Tell him,
what?
listen, I need to go. I need to go. I got something important to talk about.
Oh my God. Wow. I gotta ask you more about that. Thaddeus,
Yeah,
how
because
old are you?
the topic tonight, I'm 39 years old. So
Okay.
the topic tonight is at the root of all, I think, the problem of dating. This is at the root
Wow.
of the problem. This is the problem. If you solve this problem, you would solve. It's like, for instance, right? You have people who go to the doctor, right, and they say, well, I got diabetes type 2, my knees hurt, my joints hurt. I got congestive heart failure, and the doctor should be just like, listen, the root of all your problems is that you're overweight. Just lose weight, and all the rest of the problems go away. Same thing with celibacy. You fix the celibacy issue, and all of the dating problems, a lot of them disappear.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thaddeus came ready. He came ready. All right. Y'all say how are y'all getting the chat? Thank you again for joining us. Okay. So celibacy. So there's kind of some different definitions in celibacy, but what we're going to talk about is pretty much abstaining from sexual intercourse. Okay. So that's what we're meaning when we're speaking about celibacy. As you know, people are, celibate for different reasons. Either it's religious reasons. I think a lot of us on the line grew up in the church or somewhat religious or affiliated. Who? Bernard shaking his head. Tori, yes. Thad, yes. Adina?
Not so much.
Not so much. Okay. So it could be for religious reasons, right? You're waiting till marriage to have sex. Or it could be, I've seen that what's common now is like mental health. Like some people are either getting over a situation or saying, hey, I want to focus on my job or I want to focus on this thing. So let me just be clear headed and not engage in this activity. And you've got all kinds of reasons, right? Why people are doing this. So today is just to talk about, what about celibacy? What's the pros, maybe cons? What are our experiences with celibacy? And just have that conversation. So I kind of wanted to give everyone to start on what's been their experience. Have you ever tried it? If so, what's been your experience? So let's go on that. Say hi when you join. Hi everyone. Tonight we're speaking about celibacy. So who wants to go first? Let me have to call the names now.
Man, I'll go.
Go ahead, Bernard. Go ahead.
I'll go. All right. So, have I ever have I tried celibacy?
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't by choice.
What you mean it was by choice?
I mean, it was just. Well.
Then that's just a dry spell. That ain't celibacy.
That was a dry spell.
Have you choice? That's right. That's a good point. Because celibacy, you're choosing to do this.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about voluntary celibacy on the show tonight.
So I have said I was gonna try to sustain from sexual activities at one point.
Why? Why did you say that at that point?
Because I ain't want to give it up.
Why you didn't want to give it up?
I wanted to be stingy too.
Bernard, really?
I wanted to see how it was gonna feel. I wanted to be stingy. Like, nope.
Hey T, and what was the result of that?
It ain't worked too good.
Oh, why? What happened?
I mean, we engaged.
Oh Lord, are you serious?
Man, we engaged in the activities. It didn't work too well. Let's just be real. Temptation is hard. You got to be real strong. And I was young, and I wasn't too strong in the mind then, or the body, evidently. Flesh won, but yeah.
Oof. Okay. So you tried it, didn't work for you, didn't last long.
Nah.
Who wants to go next? Let me hear from another dude. Tori, tell me, have you tried it?
Yes, I've tried it on my own, and I've tried it as a requirement or standard per se of somebody that I was dating.
Ooh. Now, did you voluntarily try it, or were you like Bernard? Was it? Did you try to on purpose, Tori?
Yeah, I tried to on purpose.
And what was your experience?
I did it for 2 years.
Ooh. Wow. And why did you choose to do it?
I wanted to see if I could.
Ooh.
First of all, if I had the discipline to do so. And then the other reason was because I felt like I kind of needed a cleansing, so to speak, of all of the other individuals I intertwined myself with over the years. And just to allow myself to be in a position to learn more about myself without having sexual activities clouding my judgment and my decision making on things.
Ooh, now that's deep. Hey, Keisha, thank you for joining us. Everybody in the chat, say hi when you get in. So Tori said, look, I'm trying to cleanse myself. Let me get myself together and do this 2 years. That's amazing. Was it hard for you? Did you find it tempting or?
At first, yes, because it was what I was used to doing. But as anything else, we're creatures of habit. So I kept not doing it, then it became a lot easier for me to resist the temptation, or whenever that thought would come in my mind, find something else to do to occupy that thought.
Hold up.
Go ahead, Bernard.
Were you talking to somebody at that point during them 2 years? Did
No.
you have a relationship?
Nope.
That's a dry spell.
Oh, Bernard, no, he did it on purpose.
No, I wouldn't say because I choose not to talk to somebody. That's not a dry spell.
Exactly.
Now, if you trying to talk to people and you're not having any luck, then yeah, that's a dry spell, and you might need to tweak your game some. But if you purposely go into it, not trying to talk to anybody, ain't nothing dry about that. You can have that look all you want to, but clearly your track record has said that you aren't good at that. So, hey.
Oh Lord! So Tori, what made you change after the 2 years? You were like, okay, I'm ready now.
Somebody else who actually that was their prerequisite. They wanted to quote unquote wait until marriage, and I was like, okay, since I've already done this for 2 years, all right, cool. But I could say that and not be in front of the person. But then once you're in front of the person, and affection and touchings and things of that nature come into play, it makes it a lot harder to stick to the, we're going to wait until you get married like you asked. So it makes it increasingly difficult, especially when the person wants to do it just as much as you do.
So did you guys end up doing it?
Yep.
Oh man. See,
And you know what
woo.
happened?
Mhm.
I got blamed for it.
What?
Of course.
She was the initiator, but I got blamed for it.
Of course. Because she got to stay right with God. So she got to blame it on you.
Oh my God. Was she doing it because of religious reasons?
She ain't had no
Yeah,
faith.
she was.
Oh wow. Woof, this is tough.
Bernard,
Woo.
you crazy.
Oh, Thaddeus, tell me what's been your experience, Thaddeus?
So I mean, if I'm with someone and it's serious and I think it's going for like we are dating for a purpose, like we're dating to marriage, definitely abstinence is the way to go. And
Ooh.
that's been my experience. At least I've tried, right? At least give it my hardest.
Okay. So you try that. Okay. It sounds like you tried, however, you have failed as well.
Actually, with one, I was actually very successful. The whole entire
Really?
relationship. Yeah, I 100% never did anything. I was really serious about her though. We were planning on getting married.
Wow. So we're gonna talk about not doing anything. Because some people think if there's no penetration and we did everything else, that is still considered celibacy. So we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. Say hi when y'all get in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Let us know if y'all want to share what's your experience with celibacy. Have you tried it? Has it been helpful to you? Let me know. Adina, tell me, what's been your experience?
So celibacy was a thing that happened prior to my first marriage. So it was the abstaining from sex with each other before marriage. And we was Jesus people, and we was trying to abstain from sex before we got married. And he was a whore anyway. So then when we got married, it was I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but anyway, we waited until we got married to
You
have sex.
did.
And, he ended up laying it low and spreading it wide anyway, and it wasn't just me.
Wow.
So
Wow. So do you think he was maybe engaging while you guys were talking?
probably.
Yeah. Oh,
Because it wasn't necessarily like a thing that I had as a standard. It was just something that we said we would do together, so we agreed upon it.
okay.
And we didn't do anything like hurry up and move the wedding date up and we didn't do any of that. Like, how some people be like, yeah, we gonna wait till we get married, but they get married in like 3 months. We didn't do that. We didn't do that. But I mean, we weren't engaged. Matter of fact, it was a little over a year that we were engaged.
Okay.
So because we got engaged on a Valentine's Day and we got married the following June. So a little over a year. But yeah, so that's probably been the only time that I like intentionally was celibate with somebody, and other times was just like, I guess it does count as celibacy, and it wasn't a dry spell. It was like I just wasn't interested in people. Like I just didn't want to be there, so I didn't.
So it's all interesting the different experiences y'all had. So I grew up, with the church, or at least, with that influence. So I too was trying as I was younger to not have sex before marriage, right? But I noticed a lot of times that kind of led to kind of pushing the envelope a little bit and, doing a little bit more perhaps that you should, until eventually doing it anyway, right? So, it did become a challenge, and I felt that and I guess we could talk about the church and all that, but I felt like, when I actually did eventually and then on, I wasn't as much prepared because, the church is always saying, just don't do it. And then when you actually do, you're probably not prepared in different ways. So we'll have that discussion as we go along, but it's very interesting, the different perspectives. Okay, so let's talk about nowadays. So now everybody on here in their 30s, their 40s, are y'all playing nowadays? Like if somebody tell you, look, I'm not, I don't want to engage in sex, and they have a history, right, where they've actually slept with people before. Okay. So I want to hear from both the male and the female perspective, because I've heard different guys say, hey, look, like you gave it up to all these different guys. Like, why are you trying to be celibate now with me? So I want to hear from a male's perspective. If you guys feel slighted, like, look, if you open it for other people, you need to open up for me, okay? The Lord will understand. Or does it depend on why she's doing it? You know, like if she changed her life or what's she going through? Y'all let me know on the line. Do you guys care if the person says they're going to be celibate? Are you okay with it if they've actually been engaged in, you know, sex previously? Y'all let me know in the chat, okay? Who wants to jump in?
It got to be one of them, right?
It's got to be one. I want to hear from them because tell me. Y'all, you know, y'all got an ego issue sometimes. Well, that's why I want to hear from y'all. Go ahead. So, Bernard's like, I'll do it.
I'll do it. All right. So I am very happy in my relationship. Let me throw that out there now. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very happy in my relationship. All right. So if I wasn't in a relationship and she decided to be celibate, would I wait? Because if she's the type of person she is, I would.
Ooh, so you would have waited for her.
I would.
It wouldn't matter why she was celibate, nothing. Like, she worth it. If she worth it, you gonna wait.
It makes a difference to a certain extent, but then again, it really doesn't. You know, because I've already gotten to know her. You know what I'm saying? And feelings already has gotten involved. Now, if I would have came in, didn't know nothing about it, and like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna see how it gonna go. We gonna do the 90-day rule, you know. But
Bernard, could those feelings have developed if you didn't sleep with her? Could you? Yeah, would you have gotten that far without that? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
We definitely have. I mean, we waited a little while. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, yeah, good 3 days or more.
Just kidding.
Or more. Just kidding.
I mean, we waited, but yeah, I would definitely waited though. I would have definitely waited for it.
Oh, Keisha said y'all are still her favorite couple. That sounds so sweet. So if she's worth it, you're willing to wait, Bernard, all the way up to marriage? Yeah. Tell me, are you feeling slighted? Or, well, you said that you'd want to abstain, so you're willing to wait, right?
Well, yeah. So for me, it's you know, I'll speak for me and then I'll speak for the fellas.
Okay.
You know, for me, it's only waiting because of my religious beliefs. Just just get that clear. Because outside of that, yeah, I dare some woman to tell me, well, you know, yes, I'm not having sex. Excuse me, are you a virgin? No? Okay. So you're going to give that away to all these guys and then come to me and then tell me that you have to, I would tell you to go kick rocks immediately. That's disrespectful.
So even if she doesn't, the reason doesn't matter. Like if she changed her life.
Like I said, if it's for religious reasons, then that's fine. That's fine. Okay. That's the only excuse. But anything else other than that, nah. Yeah, go kick rocks.
Wow, my goodness, Tori and Bernard, do you think guys are? Is that the?
That's the immediate no.
I will say this. I will say this now. Now, me and my girlfriend, we did have a discussion earlier today. She opened up my mind a little bit. All right, because Dad, I was like you. I was like, you know, typically it's a game. You know what I'm saying? For most guys, you celibate, huh? Really? You know. It's a game. It's a big game. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said, you know what? I'm gonna see. I'm gonna hold it out too. I'm gonna sustain. What you gonna do?
Ooh.
You know.
So it becomes a game of who's gonna crack first.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because I mean, Netflix and chilling is a real big thing now. You know what I'm saying?
Still a thing.
And you know, back in the day, it was go to the movies and chill. You know, but it's still a game at the end of the day. Now, when you get feelings involved, that game stuff is out the door.
Wow. So Anisha said if they're on their celibacy journey, I would not disturb them for that. Okay, Anisha, so does that mean you wouldn't date them or you'd still date them but just not try to have sex with them? Okay, Bernard. So Bernard, okay, so you kind of thought like Thaddeus before, like, hey, maybe. Do you think that's a consensus among men? Most men, it's like, okay, right, really, you celibate. Yeah, right? Yeah. They don't take it serious. Tori, how about you?
In the past, if somebody told me that, I'd be like, yeah, right. Or I'd be like, okay, well, let me see what it's going to take for you to kind of let this celibacy guard down.
Ooh.
But then as I've gotten older, I realized that getting to know somebody without sex being involved, it makes a lot more of a solid foundation. And so when stuff happens in your relationship, if all you have it built off of is sex, then your relationship is gonna fail. Like you don't have communication, you don't have what stick to itness. Like you don't know how to maneuver through the highs and lows of relationship if the only thing that y'all have in common is smashing each other. So I'm cool with it because it allows me to get to know the person on multiple levels, that will let me know and let me feel secure in knowing, you know what, no matter what comes, I know this person has my back, I got their back, and we can get through it. Now, at the same time, while feelings start to evolve, it's only natural as humans that you want to find different ways to express your love and feelings for each other. And it might be a little bit of a struggle for some individuals, or stressful or frustrating when that's something that they want to express with each other, but you made a vow for whatever reason, whether it's religious or whether it's, you know what, I don't want our relationship to be based off of that. But, like I said, as humans, those feelings do come up and it's something they have to deal with. But I don't have a problem with waiting. If I met somebody and they were like, hey, I want to wait until I get married, and if they tell me that because of their past decisions, that's also why they want to wait.
Yeah.
Because of the drama and the broken heart that came with them maybe giving it up too early or giving it up to the wrong guy. I'll respect that.
Oh, okay. So it looks like you guys are all on the line willing to wait for the right girl. So that should send a message, right, to the ladies who are listening and thinking, oh, he might not wait. You know what I mean? So if it appears based on these guys, if you are it for him, he's willing to wait. Adina, tell me, I know you had your hand up. How you
I
feel?
did. I had a question, like, I guess for the guys, like, so is it not possible to be in relationship with a woman and still get to know her, even if, like, know her on different levels, even if there is, like, sex at play?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it still can allow you to get to know her, what kind of person she is, right? What kind of human she is, how she feels about the moon, how she feels about this, how she feels about that. You know what I mean? Like,
communication, talking.
Yeah,
right,
it's possible.
right. Still investing. I guess, is she still worth investing in to, like, get to know, even if sex is at play? Because I
as
think,
long as you don't make, once sex is introduced into the relationship, you don't make it the focal point.
Right.
As long as you don't make it the focal point, then you can continue to get to know the individual on all the different levels that you aspire to get to know them on.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
That sounds good, right? That sounds good, right? But any date coach, any marriage therapist, any relationship coach, any relationship therapist, they'll always tell you that sex complicates things. Sex will blind your eyes to a lot of things. So if you're really trying to get to know this person on some level, I'm not saying that you can't do while having sex, but just think about it. So you're basically clouding your judgment with this. So if you're really, I'm not saying that you can't get to know this person, but you're going to, number one, overlook a lot of red flags. You're going to be blinded because it invokes a lot of emotions, right, that are false, right? These false, it's like a false sense of intimacy, a false sense of closeness, and that it just complicates things. And 6 months down the line, when the good sex has worn off and you really start to see this person for who they are, then you start to notice a lot of problems crop into your relationship. So to answer your question, I would say if you're really serious about this person, it might be something that you would want to consider. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what the facts are, and then I'll let you make your decision. But if the facts are, any relationship coach, any relationship therapist, they'll always tell you that if you are having sex with somebody you're dating, you are adding some complications to the relationship.
Ooh, how y'all feel about that?
I mean, it's emotions. Anytime you put emotions in the
agree.
mix, you're gonna get, a trick bag. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to have conversations prior to getting to sex that will let you know kind of where that person is also, right? I think that there's leading conversations that will help you in that manner. And of course, people are gonna lie. Like, people are gonna say, oh yeah, I'm healed, set free, no bondage here. Everybody gonna say that because they want to get in your drawers too. So it's like, you just, it's all I had one marriage where I waited to have sex and got married and found out that he was a serial cheater, and I didn't in my second marriage. And you know what I mean? It still is, you know what I mean? So for me, yeah, emotions are going to cloud judgments. Emotions are going to make things be what they are. But I mean, it's just a gamble that you take, if you ask me.
Just kill your odds, right? Just make it.
So it looks like everyone's on the line. It's a safer route to go, it seems, right? Sex is going to come eventually, if you guys are feeling each other. So why rush it, right? Like, if you want to get to know each other and really have a solid foundation before engaging in that, it's probably a good route to go. Would everyone kind of agree with that a bit? Ish.
I mean, to piggyback off what Thad says, like, once you introduce sex into the equation, and let's just say it's great for both of you, then it opens up a door for you to do a lot of, I don't want to say compare and contrast, but it allows you to make room for excuses for the red flags that you see.
Yeah. And I think we've all kind of been there, right? Where we letting certain things go, or, because we've had sex with a person, it's so hard to, detach from them. And you know what I mean? So sex really does add that additional layer that makes it difficult. I think it is easier to walk away perhaps from someone you haven't engaged in and had that kind of connection with. So just be wise when you're out there, okay?
For sure.
With this. But let me ask y'all though, first of all, let's talk about the comments, because people in here, y'all killing me. I love it. So T's agreeing, sounds good, but sex does interfere. So she's agreeing. When you have sex too soon, a lot of times people confuse it with lust. So that's true. Keisha said, I just need to ride the bike before I buy it. That's what I'm saying. She just want to make sure it's working, right? And Anisha said, just remove sex from the equation and you'll truly see who the person is in their reality. So let's talk about that whole thing. What if you wait and the sex is bad? Are you guys is that a factor for you guys? Are you concerned about that at all?
Yep.
Bernard said.
Yep. We talked about that before. We talked about that before. But I ain't gonna bring that back up. But yeah, it's definitely part of the equation.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah. Nah. I'm like Keisha. What you waiting for then? What? You know what's at the end of the tunnel. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm backtrack.
But what if you wait? So the woman that you're with now, that you're in love with, what if you did wait for her till marriage and her sex wasn't that great? Because you liked her so much, would you still stay and try to make it work and, maybe watch some videos, get some tutorials? Like, Bernard, yeah. You staying or not?
I'm staying. But yeah, we definitely got to, up the ante, watch something, or read some books, roll some dice. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, Adina, how about you? You staying or not?
I guess.
You say you guess? You don't sound confident.
No. I said I just. I feel like everybody is
teachable.
No. Because listen, I want to say that people are teachable, but also I understand that men have egos also, right? And it just kind of depends on where they sit. Like, if they're the kind of man that's like, I'm willing to do this because I want this to be, the best situation for us, that's one thing. But if you got a guy that's like, I know what I'm doing, and you like, but you poking me in my leg, like, what's happening? Like, you know what I mean? But if you got a situation like that, it's like, so what am I doing? Okay, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Y'all let me know in the chat. Are y'all staying with someone if you wait to have sex and it's terrible, but you really like them? Are you guys still staying with the person or not? Y'all tell me in the chat. Anisha said, teach him or her. Tori, are you staying or not? Are you concerned if the sex is going to be bad if you wait? What?
I'm concerned, but it, like Bernard said, if the person is teachable, then hey, that's fine. You know, that's great. The sky's the limit. Read it, rainbow, all of that. You know, we're good to go as long as they're teachable. Now, if they walk around thinking that they are the best thing ever, then we got a problem. That's a whole nother conversation, because you might have to bruise their ego to make them receptive. Ooh. And like I said, that's another conversation. So,
but that's another thing, right? Because then that's a whole nother area where you like, what did I sign up for? You know what I mean?
But Adina is right about the whole ego thing with a guy. Like, I feel like if you tell a guy anything about his, part down there or the use of it, like, it's a big bruise to the ego. Like, can we tell you guys that and you not feel like you're inadequate? Like, nope. will you ever get over that? Is my question. Oh, Bernard said no.
And then walk right out your door and right to the next lady and be angry over there because you told him that he need to go a little bit more to the left. You don't. I mean, he'd be right over there mad.
Like, mad. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Oh, my
God. And he gonna go find somebody that like it from the right.
Oh, my
that
God.
part.
He ain't gonna be on the One Monkey Don't Stop No Show. He gonna be right outside that door, and you gonna be crying, saying, "I was just trying to help him. I was trying to help him. I was trying to be a help me."
I'm just trying to help him hit the target.
I think it depends how you say it, and how you introduce it to him.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
So, okay, so what if we don't outrightly say, hey, go more, like, hey, your sex game is off. But what if we just kind of guide you, right? If in the act we're like, oh, okay, this way.
I don't know what type of guys these are, but you should be able to vocalize what it is that you want. Now, the thing is, to me, like, if you guys don't have any chemistry, then that's something else that you can't necessarily work on. You could try to work on it, but you can't work on it. So chemistry is one thing. I mean, if both of you guys have decent chemistry, I don't see what's the problem. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's you have one thing, they have one thing, you take it, you put it, take it out. I mean, that's it. Like, why are you complicating things?
But see, the problem, but honestly,
why trying to make it like this thing is rocket science where you have to go read 5 books, and it's like, your body. Say, hey, I like up, down, left, right, A, B, start. Okay. If you start, if that don't work, that means that ain't your thing. Or it means that's not your guy. Y'all keep it pushing.
What do you mean? You already got married to this person. Like, we're talking about if, like, you waited. What you mean?
Well, if that's the case and y'all married, then of course, then you have a lifetime to get it right. You have a life to get it right.
Somebody hoping Jesus come back real soon.
In a lifetime, you can't get something right. To me, that doesn't make sense, especially if you had good chemistry. If you have good chemistry, it's impossible. I mean, to me, it's impossible.
What? Have y'all had bad sex with somebody you've had chemistry with? Y'all tell me. Ooh, Bernard said nope. Tori, Adina. Adina, why you? Adina?
I'm here.
Man, whew. Oh gosh. Okay, let me just read some of the chat. Y'all get that answer together because y'all out here. Anisha said, hurt their egos, better you than someone else. Okay. Anisha also said at this point, communicate. So she's about communication too, right? And T, oh my gosh, T said sometimes it's best to walk away. Energy and you may get along better as friends. Everybody can't be your lover. Okay. All right. Oh, and Anisha agreed with her. So yeah, because that's a big thing. And Thaddeus, I know it might seem like it's simple, but some people, are on different levels.
Some people.
Some people are at different levels. Okay.
I know guys are pretty simple. I could speak for most guys. I mean, it's simple. Up, down, left, right. That's it. That is what it is.
That clears the board.
Because I've heard of different people, like in terms of oral sex, saying, "Hey, I think this is degrading. I don't want to do this," or "Hey, don't have sex with me like an animal. Like, I want you to look at me. Don't hit it from the back. Like, I'm not a dog." So people have different thoughts like that might not go along with others.
Those are, I don't know. I personally think those are made up problems. Maybe I could just be inexperienced. So I might not know, but I think those are made up problems.
They're made up. Okay. Like they're not legit, huh? Woof. But we gonna pray though. Like you gonna
Like I
pray
said,
God.
maybe I'm just not experienced as most people, but I think those are made up problems.
Ooh.
Like you like this person, it's amazing. That act itself is amazing, no matter regardless what. I mean, if you could do that with a rubber, rubber toy, and you could get yourself off. I mean, this is somebody that you claim to love, and you are so much in love, and you having problems. I mean, I don't know.
Ooh.
I call BS. I call BS.
Oh my gosh. Y'all in the chat, let me know. Have you had sex with someone? The vibe was great, but the sex was terrible. Y'all let me know.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about somebody you actually love. You're married to this person.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That would hit different. Not somebody just casually. I mean, if you don't really like, you're not vested in this guy. This is somebody you dated for maybe a month or two. I mean, come on. If it's terrible, okay, great. I mean, that is to be expected. Y'all strangers trying to exploit each other's private parts. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Like,
let's see go ahead, Adina.
I was just gonna say though, like, and this is kind of like to the left, but more of what you were saying, Nicole, in terms of like a person being like, I'm not an animal, don't have sex with me in that position. That usually makes me think of people that are like sexual abuse survivors. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have, like, I've heard of women that have had those traumatic experiences, and then even in their marriages they struggle with sex because of where those traumas have left them. So sometimes I've heard women mention that, but it's usually sexual abuse survivors. And I mean, of course, I'm sure there's women that haven't gone through that particular trauma that probably feel that way as well, but I usually hear it associated with that. And so if you're married to somebody that is a sexual trauma survivor, I would hope that you are sensitive to them. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
yes.
And that they may have some blockages and some things and some hurdles that they have to get over in order to have regular sex or feel comfortable.
Yes. That is such a good point, Adina, because that happens very often, right? The whole, topic of sexual abuse, and I've heard that as well. So that's a good point too. Welcome, Ashtino, to the discussion. Welcome. Let us know, if you have any questions about the whole celibacy thing. Let us know if you've ever tried it. Let us know were you be okay with it if you met a woman who did. Any other comments, guys, ladies and gentlemen on the line about, if you're okay with it? Are you concerned if the sex is going to be good? Any other comments before we move on? No, y'all good.
I do have a comment. I think that people put too much emphasis on sex.
Ooh.
Marriage is supposed to be something for a lifetime, and sex only really lasts but so long. I'm talking about physically, right? So as you get older, you crave this thing less and less, and after a while, I mean, your bodies can't even do it, right? Physically, right? Mm-hmm. For some people, it comes at an earlier age. So why are you putting so much emphasis on something that, that really doesn't impact the longevity of your marriage? I think that you should be thinking about other things, discussing other things, putting emphasis on other areas of marriage.
No, I mean, it's a good point and I've heard, couples say that, hey, the sex starts off really hot and heavy and eventually it's not there. But then again, you do watch shows and things where the therapist, that's how they gauge how your relationship is doing. Like that'll be one of the first questions, like, are you guys having sex? How often are you engaging? Because that too shows the healthiness of a relationship too. So yeah, I agree that
it could be one of the indicators, but think about some of I'm sure you've had relationships where you've had some pretty good sex. And where's that relationship right now?
So no, I agree that it shouldn't be the main focus, but we can't say that it's not something important, as well.
I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying we put in too much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, of course it is important, because think about it. It's like, why else, think about it. I mean, some comedian said that joke where he said, if you got in a terrible car accident and you happen to lose that part of you, it's like, why else would a guy stick around?
Oh,
that is a major part of us getting together.
Boy, Lord. Keisha said she agreed with your previous comment, Thaddeus, about how we place too much importance on it. Okay. Y'all say hi in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining us. Okay. So we're going to move on to the whole thing about virgins. Okay, so most a lot of people have been experienced already.
Why? That's a non conversation for people in their 20s, 30s. I get it.
So my question is, for those who are, kind of saving themselves, are you guys okay? How do you feel about dating virgins? Like,
it's gonna be a no for me, dog.
That's like asking me how do I like going up to the moon? Like it's a non issue.
Adina said no.
This age.
Okay, Adina said no. Adina, why you said no?
Because I'm 39. Amen. I done had 4 children. Okay, listen, and not because I'm trying to. If I am with somebody that's a virgin, then I'm already robbing the cradle, and I need to be in the jailhouse. Amen. Nope. And also, not because I think that like I'm such a great person, but also, let's just be honest. The first person gets the most stalkers. You understand? Now I got to be down here filling out a PFA because you wanted to know. This is gonna be a no for me, dog. And it happens on both sides. A woman with a, you know what I mean, with a male and a male with it's the same thing. Baby, I don't want you on my doorstep with the boom box and the trench coat on playing some crazy record outside. I got churn in his sleep. No, I'm good. Thank you.
No. I'm trying to have him sprung on the first.
But I'm not. But I'm not finished. But that's the problem, right? So when you have sex for the first time with somebody that think about your first sexual experience and how you were really into that person. 9 times out of 10, they wasn't into you like that. But you was like, oh, I gave it all I had. It was the best thing ever. Oh, this is what the song by the As Yet people. How they had saw the stars, the moon,
last night,
and the rivers. Baby, that's what you be thinking is happening. You know what I'm saying? And again, now you outside, giving them your lunch money, and you doing all kinds of stuff. Nope. Thank you.
Oh Lord, Adina said that's a hard no. So Adina, is it questionable if you meet a guy in his 40s and 50s and he's a virgin? Like, is that questionable to you?
It's very much so questionable. Just because, like, it would be one of those things to give me pause. If I ever met a man that was like, in that predicament. Like, I've heard stories of men that were in that predicament, but they were really in that predicament because of the issue that they were having with their manhood. It was usually too much going on. So, then they end up in that predicament where no woman is really trying to go near there because everybody wants to keep their bodies intact. I won't get graphic. Everybody wants to keep their things intact. You know what I'm saying? So, but I would be astonished to meet a 40 or 50-year-old man that has not.
Okay, y'all in the chat, let me know. Y'all okay with dating virgins or not? Bernard, y'all laughing. Bernard, Tori, like, what's y'all issue? Y'all, how y'all feel about?
All right, so check this out, right? So I was watching something I think it was on like Facebook or something, and this Wendy Williams show popped up.
Yep.
Right. This woman was a virgin, and the whole crowd got quiet, and Wendy didn't know what to say. She was just like, so you ain't did nothing. And she was like, nah. Everybody was just like, Well, I mean, for a guy, I mean, it breathes well, but you got to go through, like, then you said, I mean, you got so much, you got like, I don't think I can do it either.
Ooh, not you either? Is it for the same reason?
But it's like an elephant in the room, like, point them out. Where they at?
Oh, so you don't think it's common? Okay.
That's the unicorn, man. Where they at?
So, Bernard, is it because you would have the same concern as Adina that they might be stalkerish?
Yeah.
Okay. Tori, what about you? Like, are you okay
I agree
with
with both of them because, like, it's not like, okay, like if you're with somebody that's experienced, you know what, you just go for what you know. Like, you don't know how to ration it to a virgin. Like, like, you don't know how they're going.
It's
like,
the ration part.
Ration it out. Like,
one pump every 13 seconds.
Right. Like, you can't do a pump, wait for their reaction, and then, keep that going. So, no, like, that's too much.
gosh, Tino said yes, he would. Ooh, Tori said he ain't rationing nothing.
No, like
Oh
you
man.
got people hiding in bushes and showing up
Speak
at
on
your
it, Tori. Talk about it. They
job,
outside
and
your
you
house,
ain't never
baby.
tell them where you work. You know,
Baby, they
stuff
at the
like that.
job with the flowers, baby. You
Oh,
got these out
Right.
there old lady yard. What is this? No.
They showing up at your job and you work from home. Like, that's crazy. No.
Can you talk about it, please? Please, sir. Tell the
Oh,
people
man.
of God
I'm
what is
just
going on.
saying.
Thaddeus, how about you? Are you okay with a virgin or not?
Of course, that would for me that would be preferred. That would be like that would be the best thing in my case, because for me it's like we're getting married and that's it. I only believe in getting married once. So yeah, that would definitely be a lot better. A lot of the trauma that some women pick up because of past relationships, past sexual relationships. You could pick up like bad spirits, bad vibes, STDs, maybe kids, all of that. I don't got to worry about any of that. Not to mention, I'll be the best you ever had, like no questions.
By default.
That's his main reason, because she ain't got nobody to compare him to.
Well,
Exactly, Tori.
actually, Corey, let it be known. I'm sorry.
Tori.
Tori. So let it be known, I'm actually Nicole knows me. She knows like I'm a very cocky dude. I am not worried about no other guy giving me competition. And let's leave it at that. So that is not the reason, sir. I ain't worried about no other guy.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So okay, so that's very interesting.
And I'll be the best, but I'll also be the worst that she ever had to, if you want to look at it like that.
Oh, me personally, like I would be surprised if a guy was a virgin at this age. Like I would very much question what's been going on with him. And that's sad because it shouldn't be weird, but it is like our society now, like everybody's doing it, right? So it would be ooh, man, I'm thinking I'd have to get to know more information as to why. Yeah.
That part.
Without being judgy, right?
Right.
That's the hard part. It's like, my judgment wants me to judge you.
Yeah, yeah.
But every question is gonna produce a follow-up question.
Right. We got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on in the chat, y'all. Thank you for joining us. Let us know y'all experience in here. Okay, so now let's go to Christianity a little bit here and talk about nowadays. Do you think the church kind of turns a blind eye to fornication, right? Having sex with someone that you're not married to. Like, back in the day it was okay, don't do it. It was really, do you think the church now actually is against it anymore? Do they speak about it, or is everyone doing it but just not saying? What do you guys think is kind of the case right now?
Depends on
Before y'all answer, hold on. Before y'all answer, I need to know who goes to church here on a regular basis before, so that we could know if you're just speaking by what you think or by what you know. So
I was gonna say up front, I don't go to church, so I don't know what they in there doing, but I know everybody's hunching and scunching. Okay, I know folk children having baby showers and carrying on, and the people at the church won't come to the baby shower because it was against God's will. I know that, but I don't go every Sunday. No.
Okay. Ooh, what about the rest of y'all on the line?
I listen to it online.
Yeah,
okay.
Me too.
Okay. And how about you, Thaddeus?
Yeah, so I'm in church every single week.
Okay.
For those of you guys on the line don't know, I'm actually very active in ministry and in church. I attend two different churches, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. So I think of everyone here, I think I'll be the most experienced in this area, at least, right? Not in the whole sexual area. Y'all got me beat, right? Yeah. Everybody else got me beat, but this one area, yes. And I would agree with you. Yes, by all means, yes, they have turned a blind eye to it, to the church detriment, right? Because first it started where, for instance, like if you were a single mom, if you got pregnant outside of wedlock, you were ostracized, you were put on the back bench, you couldn't sing, you couldn't do anything, right? You were made an example of. Now you could be pregnant now, know that you don't have a husband. They don't really care.
Ooh.
I won't say that they don't care, but it's not treated as anything like you're not an outcast. You could come, you could sing, you could do whatever.
Oh, look, Ashtino is saying the girl who invited me to Bible study is pregnant now. It's crazy. And everyone's quiet about it. Wow. So it's kind
Yeah,
of going along with
it's
what you
just
said,
like
Nadia.
nothing. Yeah, it ain't anything right now.
I
It's
think it
almost
depends on what type of church you go to.
nah. It's almost expected. The only difference in the churches, like there's some denominations, for instance, like Jehovah Witness, and like there's some like Church of Holiness. Like there's a few, but those are like really small congregations and small for a reason, right? Because they don't really take the slackness, quote unquote. But those churches are the ones that really, if you come to that church and you mess around, you get pregnant or anything, or they find out that you're messing around, yeah, they will definitely backbench you.
Oh, so Bernard, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was about to say along those lines, man. It depends on the denomination, and like how big is a church. You know what I'm saying? A lot of churches now, everybody want to go to the mega church. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to be seen. It's a big show with a lot of churches now. That's why I kind of like stay away from the whole theatrics behind all the stuff. I just want to get my words and move on about my day. But yeah, I think it depends on is the church real close knit? You know, is it really, really, really as tight knit as they're supposed to be? You know, and then like me, nobody wants to go to church and hear backlash. You know, everybody sins, and no sin is greater than the other, right? So nobody want to hear. No, we can go a whole another topic about that, but yeah, it depends on the denomination.
Because that's the thing I've heard some people say is like, everyone has, sinned and fall short of the glory. So they're not really calling out people's sins and stuff like that. But also I've heard some people justify it and say, hey, times are different now. I know back then in the Bible, it said this about fornication, but it's 2022 now, is that realistic? You know what I mean? Some people thinking like as times change, maybe some of those things don't apply nowadays, so you've heard people kind of try to justify it with different things. Tori, tell me what's been your experience?
In my experience, churches, without hesitation, they're quick to say, you shouldn't fornicate, you should wait till you get married, things of that nature. But a lot of them would just say it and then they move on to the next topic. Like they wouldn't take that extra step to kind of educate, okay, why a person shouldn't do it. So it then became more like, okay, well, this is just a rule. Like, nobody's telling me why I shouldn't do it. You're just saying don't do it. But at the same time, there are a bunch of little Christians running around at the same time. So, some people are listening, some people are letting it go through one ear and out the other. And then, with that, it produces an environment where people aren't comfortable coming to church. If the pastor's up there talking about don't fornicate, but then a woman walks in and she has 2 kids and she's not married, it makes it look like a spotlight has been cast upon her. Like she's a product of not listening to what the pastor said, which, makes a lot of people not want to come because they feel like, they're going to be judged for anything that they do. And in that particular case, it would be fornicating. And like I said, somebody who has a product of them fornicating.
But that's not always true either.
It's not, right? But
and that's the thing. The assumption is if you see a single woman walk in someplace with kids, you assume she's unmarried. You assume that she was, you know what I mean? She's single. She could have been married for 100 years and had these children and is now divorced. You know what I mean? But nobody talks to people to understand where they are. And a part of the thing too is like when I was in church and consistently in church, it was the thing of, oh, y'all are sleeping together. Oh, y'all got to hurry up and get married. Now they trying to piece people together. Then they telling you what you could wear and what you can't wear, what you can do and what you can't do at the wedding, what and what you're supposed to do with your life thereon. And I remember a couple in particular that got into that situation at a church I was going to, and he was beating the brakes off of her. But wasn't nobody talking about that. Wasn't nobody trying to help her get out of that. But everybody wanted them to be married because they was having sex. So it's like, it's just one of those things. I guess it depends on the congregation and what's going on and what you like and what you don't like. But
yeah.
And I went to, when I was, I think 17, I went to a camp meeting that was held by some people, some 7-day Adventists that I knew. And like me growing up Baptist, I knew, okay, I ain't gonna say all, but I like, okay, these 7-day Adventists their lifestyle is a lot stricter than what I can do as a Baptist or Church of God in Christ and things of that nature. Like all they talked about was church, 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 church. So, but when we get to the camp meeting, them kids are running around punching everything to move. And
Ooh.
like that had my mind totally blown because I'm like, what happened to all of this church, church, church? We do this, when the sun goes down. We don't do this until the sun goes down the next day, X, Y, and Z. But they just buck wild doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah, see, I think it's a challenge because, I think a lot of churches, that was the kind of the case. Sometimes the preachers were saying stuff, but then, their kids turn up pregnant and, they don't get reprimanded. They may have put the other church members on probation but their kids, are doing the same thing and not getting the same ramification. So it's challenging because even though you're in the church and they say you're in the world, but you're not of the world. Right. Now that our society is so sexualized, how do we tell young kids, hey, wait till you get married to have sex? Like, is that realistic to tell them? And if it is so, how do we help them navigate how it is now and still keep their, celibacy? What do y'all think?
I think being honest with your children is the best thing. I think sharing your personal experiences, like where they are, you know what I mean? I think is going to be helpful. I have young kids, so I can't like say that I've done that, but that is, as of right now, is my plan of action with my girl. And I have all girls. Just to be honest with them about, my own situations on an age appropriate level, right? Not giving them maybe all of the things, but letting them know like the experiences that I had. And just sharing that with them. And, I have like my girls are like, I don't want no kids when I get older because mama, you be stressed out. I was like, okay, I do be stressed out. You're right. I do. But also like that's a decision you have to make later in life. Like you have time to decide whether you want to do that. But I think sharing your life experiences with them help them, make those decisions.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good idea, speaking to them and letting them see the realities of it, right? That sex, it might seem, good, pleasurable, everyone's doing it, but there are consequences or results that come of it. And, we don't speak about the heart piece too, right? Not only is it a physical act, but you get so emotionally tied to the person and how sometimes it's so hard to break that. So speaking about that to them as well, could help as well. But yeah, like a lot of the kids, even my daughter, I'm telling her, try not to, unless you get married or in a serious relationship. But then they looking at me like, okay, well, you had me beforehand and I'm, still engaging in that. Mom, I hope you're not watching. I told you don't watch this show. But it's like, it's like, how am I gonna say that?
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? So,
but I think it's hard to like impose those types of standards on our kids though. Like, I mean, that's what we want because we know that it's better for them, but also like we still outside. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you, again, it's the same thing that Tori was saying. You standing in the pulpit telling people not to do it, but you're not giving them any reason to not do it. But you also want your kids to be able to embrace their sexuality, right? You want them to be able to own that part of themselves and know that they have autonomy, and you want them to know all of these things about themselves and feel comfortable knowing the parts of their bodies and all of these things, so when they do get ready to engage in those acts, then they can be speaking right as adults, hopefully, right, that are understanding what they're engaging in, what is happening to their bodies, that they're understanding what is going on, so they're not, hopefully not teenagers trying to unscramble their brains and trying to have sex too. You know what I mean?
Yes. Let us know in the chat what y'all think, with talking to kids about celibacy. Like, is it realistic? What can we do if we do want to promote celibacy in the kids? How can we do that? T says, I think it's important not to focus on being religious when talking about sex. People will always let you down no matter who it is. Saving yourself for marriage is a spiritual and personal choice. So I like what you were saying, Adina, about the educational piece, because to me, when you tell the kids, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, they're not educated. So I feel like when I did eventually have sex, I wasn't walking around with condoms. I wasn't, the whole birth control and all that shit. Like I was not ready for none of that. You know what I mean? Right. And so I think although we're telling them, hey, don't do it, I think we still do need to prepare them for if they do decide to engage in that, or when they eventually do, X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, a lot of them are not prepared. And a lot of times I found myself, again, in situations where, you kind of got close to it. It kind of made sex like a guilty kind of feeling. And you don't want, when the person eventually does do it, to feel that kind of way either. You know what I mean?
Feeling dirty or feeling shameful, like they.
Yes, you know what I mean? So you do want them to have a healthy relationship and perception of sex, but in the right context, You guys have any other comments about that? In the chat, y'all let me know.
I'm gonna touch bases on this. So I think this topic is a good topic. This what we're talking about is very, very good. I think on the female spectrum of things, all the education and stuff is given to them a lot more frequent. On the male side, dads can kind of tend, yeah, that's my boy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go on out there and go on get that. You know what I'm saying? But we all need to be generalized and on an even playing field. Be like, look, hey, this is what it is. I know before I actually did the do, I was educated. My best friend's father, he was a nurse, so he used to come home with, hey, look at this video. So we was like, no, I'm good. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Oh man.
But on the flip side, when it happened, he was like, man, good job, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we need to be on a level playing field and education.
I think boys, I think boys need it more than anybody.
As a female might feel, you know what I'm saying? So I just
want to throw that out. Bernard, you brought up such a good point about the story that goes when it comes to the guy versus the girl, right? The female, it's like, hey, don't let them little boys play with you, keep yourself. But from the male's perspective, it is like, oh, you conquering, like, it's supporting. So that's the whole thing, is how are both of these sexes supposed to get along if we're telling the girls, hey, don't do it, and we're telling the boys, go for it? You know what I mean? How are we supposed to get along when the message is so different on how we're raising the kids? So people who have kids, men, especially because they're talking about that, don't support that shit. Like, tell both people they got to do right. Okay?
Educate your children,
and do right.
That leads into a bunch of different topics too concerning young boys and young men. Like, even how it's considered a conquest for a young boy to sleep with an older woman for their first time, and how that's actually rape in most cases, right? If we're gonna call a thing, right? If a girl is with a guy that's 24 and she's 16, that's statutory rape, right? So if you got this young boy that's 16 sleeping with a 24-year-old, that is rape, right? So that's a whole conversation that I think gets lost too behind that same, facade. They always, oh, you did it, good job. We could talk about Boosie, right? How he went and hired a prostitute for his son to have sex with. You could all these things. That is dangerous. Right.
Yes.
So that's everybody's children, male, female, everybody got to be educated about what's taking place. Or we're going to have exactly what we have.
Exactly.
I think kids should be more educated than just knowing what's going on when mom or dad locks the door, or when mom and dad has company. Like, there's some kids where they know, okay, well, mom got company or dad got company. So we know not to mess with them, not to knock on the door or anything like that. But they can only imagine what's going on.
Oof. It's important.
They got HBO, they know what's going on.
This HBO ain't what it used to be.
HBO, that stars,
Charlie says, I don't think it's realistic to tell kids not to have sex. Best thing we can do is prepare them as best as we can. Sex is everywhere. It really is. And you know what? And it's starting at such a young age. Like I was saying, my daughter, when I put her in kindergarten, or it was first grade, she already came home talking about, a boy in my class said he's going to lay down with a girl in the class naked on top of each other. I'm like, I just sent my child to school. And she coming home telling me this about the children. First grade. Okay. So I'm like, this thing is starting really early. You don't know what other kids are exposed to in their home.
Mm-hmm.
So as I believe T said it, if you don't tell the kids, they're gonna learn in the streets. They're gonna hear this stuff from their classmates as early as first grade, kindergarten. So you have to prepare them. It's really important. So yeah, Tori, I'm with you on that, and you know, the educational piece. Anybody else wanted to make a comment on this before we get into the very last thing? Thank you all for joining. Everybody in the chat, thank you for being so engaging. I appreciate it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. So before we move on, this is our last thing. Anybody else had any other comments?
So
Okay,
I'll
so
comment.
go ahead, Thaddeus. Tell me.
So for let's say for my kids, if I have to talk to them about sex, it would be the same argument that I would have towards drugs. It's like anything that you're gonna do for the sheer expressed pleasure of doing that thing, be careful of the ramifications. I'm not gonna ever tell my daughter or my son like they just don't have sex. Like to me, that's archaic. That's something that we've seen from previous generations that simply does not work. What I will do is educate them on the pros and the cons of doing such a thing. And then I would ask them to let me see how your life, how you want your life to play out is the decisions that you make. For instance, like let's not ask or let's not. I do a lot of research for this show. Nicole always gives me griefs, but I've done a lot of research for this show. Like even for this subject on abstinence, I kind of did like, okay, what's the impact of sex on somebody's life? And there's not just sex is not just something that you just have and it's just like you just it's a great feeling and then that's it. It's done. Like there's ramifications behind it, whether it is that you think about it or not. Just like if you do drugs, you just don't do drugs, and you know you just get this nice feeling. I don't care whether it's weed, it's coke, it's speed, it's whatever it is. There, it's always. I don't even care if it's pharmaceutical. There's always what you call side effects, and people act like there's no side effect that comes from having sex. There are ramifications for it. I will list it out for them. Let them know that, like, especially in my household, listen, if God tell you not to do something, he didn't just tell you not to do it just because he doesn't want you to have fun. Like, he's not some anti-fun God that just says, well, I don't want you to do this because I don't want you to have fun. No. Because he knows that there's something bad that's going to happen or something that's not as optimal that you would be missing out on if you did this thing. So I would give them the choice. I won't list all of it here, but you guys can do your own research. Research how, for instance, in women, research this is one good one. Research the amount of the divorce rate and amount of sexual partners that a woman has. And you'll be shocked to see. Now, I'm not saying in every case it's going to be the same thing, but numbers don't lie. And if there's an overwhelming evidence that doing something causes you detriment in the future, then I would suggest that you think long and hard about engaging in this activity. That's just my 2 cents. Also, as like there's only one benefit I can think about for having sex, and that's for guys, which is called post-nut clarity. Because you might think that you like a girl, you might really think that you like this girl, and then post-nut clarity hit, and you look over at her and you like realize, this ain't it at all. And so that's the one benefit. And the guys on this, I listen, this is a safe space for you guys. You guys don't ever have to agree with me because I know that your woman is going to kill you. Or you don't have to agree with me, but I know that you know that what I'm saying is absolutely true. You know that you see this girl that you like, oh man, you're spending so much time with her. But the thing is, like, the moment you're finished, you roll over and you just see all the physical imperfections that your mind was just glossing over. You start to see it, and she starts to get on your nerve, and you're like, this is not it at all.
Oh my God! First of all, Thaddeus, I do want to say I like what you said about education about the pros and cons. Right? You do want to make it where the decision is ultimately up to them, and they are aware, and they can make an educated decision. I like that. Now we're gonna go. I want to know: is that true, Bernard and Tori? Do y'all really know how y'all feel about a girl?
I told you not to put them on the spot.
I know how I feel about my woman. Pre-nut, post-nut, during nut. I know how I feel about my woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
That's a woman that he has now. But I'm just saying.
Jennifer, great, welcome, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm sure I'm sure you've experienced it in the past
Have
where
y'all experienced that before?
that moment of clarity just kicked in, and I think for women,
I think you're talking about like
personally, right? So I didn't see this. I didn't see this in my research.
Why did I do this?
Yeah, I think that for women, I think it's after they had a kid with this guy. For some reason, that's when it usually kicks in their mind, like, oh man, like this guy ain't shit.
Can we be very clear about that? Listen, God had given me a vision about one of my children. Well, all of my children. I knew who she was coming from. I knew he wasn't shiggity when I met him. Amen. But I knew that that's where she was supposed to come from. Wow. But I do think that clarity comes post baby. Sometimes you just be
yes, I think for women, that's where it comes.
Tori, what about you? Have you ever engaged with a woman and afterward been like, oh damn, I don't know.
Yep.
Oh
and
man.
I thought about all the other things I could have been doing.
Oh my goodness. Lord. Why? Okay,
I wanted to understand what Thea was saying about the comparison between sexual partners and divorces in women. I didn't understand what you were saying there. Like, is there a correlation there?
Yeah, so that was my whole point. It's like listen, you can do whatever it is that you want, but keep in mind that if you look in marriages, the happiest women are consistently are the ones who've had the fewest partners. And if you find a woman who's a virgin, and if you find a man who's a virgin, their marriage is usually lasts a lot longer, and they're usually happier. The more partners that you have, is the more dissatisfied you're going to be with your current partner. And I think that's common sense. I mean, I don't even think that they needed to do a study on it, but they did do a study on it. So you can research that. So having said all of that, then I just say, hey, what's the goal in your life? Is it to just have pleasure? If it's to have pleasure and not ever to think about anything long term, then go for it. I mean, go slut it up, man. Go do your thing. But if you planning to have a marriage and you want your marriage to be happy, you want to be the happiest that you could possibly be in your marriage, then I would suggest that you choose abstinence.
Ooh, all right now. So we got some research to do, and y'all got to think, those watching the show who are, younger, or as you're going through it, pay attention. So this last thing I want to talk about. Wait, Tori, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead, Tori.
Since you, Bernard, and Adina are all parents, and all of you all have girls, would it hurt you more if your 13-year-old child had sex and ended up becoming pregnant, or if your 18-year-old child came to you? Would it make a difference, and why?
Ooh.
No. I think it would be harder to talk my 13-year-old through her options versus my 18-year-old, but it would still be on the table either way. Like, everything is, it still is what it is, right? But
would you be hurt or disappointed, or neither?
Neither. Right? If I know that I've provided the space that she needs, like that they need for that education, and I've talked to them about those things, I would continue to talk to them. Like, as of right now, right? Not being in that situation, never having been in that situation. Listen, I got pregnant at 16 and my mama tried to rip my head off. So first time I ever had sex, I got pregnant. So, so having lived through that trauma, which turned into a huge trauma, I wouldn't do that to my children. It would be heartbreaking for me. But I don't think that especially with if they were 13, but I wouldn't necessarily say that ends their life in some, you know what I mean? I wouldn't give them the idea that means that this is all that they have the rest of their lives, because that's not true.
Ooh. You want to know if I would feel disappointed or the age?
Would you be disappointed or hurt, or would it depend upon their age?
Yes, I think the age is a big factor. Because if you're 13 versus, 20, that's a big difference, right? 13, you're still a baby. Like, you're still in middle school? Like, who wants to have their kid go through that in middle school, as opposed to maybe you're 20, 25, you know what I mean? Like, you are, probably in college, at least you have a better head on your shoulder as opposed to 13. And having kids is hard. Like, I don't think people say that. People say that enough. They're all like, oh, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. And, my life has totally changed. It's hard.
It's hard.
Okay. So I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like it isn't. So I would really, have an issue. The age, does matter for me. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough even now in my 30s, so I would just feel more, sorry for them, not so much disappointed, but just really feel for them. Bernard, how about you?
It's the preparation. So my daughter is actually 18 and I got a 13-year-old son. So with me, the aspect of typically what happens is the daughter keeps the baby, the girl keeps the baby, and the boy is just he helps out. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, so my daughter's gonna be the one with the physical child all the time.
Right.
Versus my son, going and doing what he's supposed to do as a man. So that part would be different. But will I be hurt or disappointed? I try to prepare them for life now. You know what I'm saying? So I always talk to my kids as real as I can. There's no need to be hurt, no need to be disappointed because it's not going to change nothing. Mm-hmm. Now, what's going to change is your dynamic of life. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
As everybody knows with kids, it's hard. Your whole world changes. You're no longer, you be selfish. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You have to do selfless things now. So as my daughter being 18 and in college, guess what? It's going to be harder for her to get through college. Mm-hmm. Now, my son, that's 13, having a child, guess what? Now you got to bear with middle school, high school, hopefully college. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of living to do. You know what I'm saying? With both of them, but that's the dynamic. It's the preparation,
Yes. Ooh. So yeah, Tori. So you got your answer? Did you have anything to say? Ooh.
I did, okay. Because I know, when I was a teenager, I knew individuals that had kids before they were 18, and they hated to tell their parents because of the disappointment that their parents openly showed, and their parents drilled in them that it's a certain level of embarrassment to the family to have it, and I think by doing so, it makes children a lot more reluctant to have open conversations with parents out of fear of disappointment and letting them down, as opposed to talking to them and having their unanswered questions answered from a reliable source.
Absolutely. I think that's parenting as a whole, though, right? If we acknowledge our children as human beings from the beginning, you fare better. Right? Yeah. I mean, they're all going to do stuff. They're still going to get on your nerves. They're still going to drive you crazy. They're still going to make horrible decisions because life is what it is. But I think that it makes a difference on how you raise your children. If you recognize that your children are people, that they are allowed to speak, that they are allowed to have thoughts, that they're allowed to have feelings, that they're going to tell you no when you need them to do something. They're going to throw to, it's going to happen. It's frustrating. You be wanting to scream. But I think if you start allowing your children to speak at a younger age, they can speak more freely as they get older as well. They'll understand that that's okay to do.
Yeah, I like that whole thing about building that relationship and that communication with your kid, right? Them feeling safe and it's okay to have conversations about things like sex with you. That's a good thing. So the last thing I want to talk about, and we will roll out of here. Thank you all again for joining us tonight, is would you consider someone who engages in oral and or anal sex without vaginal penetration as being celibate? Are you practicing celibacy if you are engaging in all these other stuff? Because, some people feel that way. So y'all let me know in the chat what y'all think. If you're getting head, giving him, hitting it from the other side, is that celibacy? What y'all think? I see y'all shaking.
Nope.
You think you got you a cheat code. That's what
right.
Yep. You look in the back of the book.
The answer.
You said the back of the book? What the book?
Yeah, the answers in the back of the book.
The answers in the back of the book.
That's so funny. Because that's the thing, some people, especially, again, growing up in the church thinking, hey, we're not supposed to have sex before marriage, but, if we're giving or getting head, I'm not putting it in. What do y'all think? You're like, I'm still a virgin, even though I gave all these people head.
This is something only high schoolers say. I think as we get older, we know that you start to mess with erogenous zones, and that's sex.
Yeah, because that's the thing is even people being celibate nowadays, they're, might be thinking, okay, what's the boundaries we're gonna set? Okay, we can't have sex, but I'll just, give head or
If you're thinking about boundaries, that means you're not celibate. But I'm just put it out there, because then what you gonna do? Everything up to that? No, because then you're still engaging in sexual activity. If you're gonna be celibate, like be celibate for real. Don't have
My mama call it perpetrating a fraud.
Mm-hmm. Don't do that. So, close can I go? Then you're not celibate. Just might as well as you just go ahead and just go do it. Get it over with.
That's sexual limit. How low can you go? Okay, you're trying to figure out how close you can get without going under the broom and hitting the ground.
Right.
Oh no, it looks like people agreeing with y'all in the chat. Charlie said, nah, people that do that are just freaks. and Jonathan Great says it's sex. So it looks like they're agreeing with y'all. Tori, you feel the same way too? Like if you're engaging in all of that, you're not really celibate?
Nope. Celebrating, but you ain't celibate.
So that's another thing for, the younger ones watching, or people who are, I don't know if people are going to take you serious, like that you're on this journey when when you got a mouthful. So get to think on these things when y'all out here.
Yikes.
Okay. Any last questions? Anybody in the chat want to ask any questions to the casting right now? The crew, let us know. Y'all have any questions for us in the chat? Y'all have any final words about celibacy or anything? Y'all can say it now before we sign off here. Anybody? All right. Oh, Thaddeus, you don't have no final thoughts? Shockingly.
I think I've said all I had to say. I think for me, the discussion of celibacy, me, I don't like to just speak about what my experience is or what I think. I kind of like to tell people, hey, this is what the ramifications are. Go do your research, kind of find out what it is that you're doing, what it is that you want in life, and then just adjust your habits accordingly. I always tell like these young men that I mentor, like you don't get to choose your destiny. Like you get to choose your habits, and your habits is what it takes you to your destiny. If you want to be a fitness model, like you don't wake up in the morning and stay in bed and then eat McDonald's all day and don't work out. Like if you keep doing those habits, you're never going to get to your goal, which is fitness model, to be a IG model or whatever your goals are. So if your goal is to be happily married with one person for the rest of your life, then I suggest you not be out here slanging it up and down
any streets.
That would be my closing remarks. Like choose what you want to do. Celibacy, of course, is going to be something hard, so it's something that both parties need to agree on. If one does, because I've had some relationships where I was trying to be the celibate person, and it's tough when it's only you. Because then the other person is just always, they're always trying to be. It's like, relax, chill. Chill, man. Get somebody who's on your same wavelength that you guys believe the same thing. Don't be unequally yoked. So,
All right. Thank you, Thad.
I got a question, Nicole.
Yes.
Just random. So, let's say you and, I guess it's for everybody, you and your partner decide that y'all want to be celibate. And then at some point on that journey, you slip off that road. How do you get back on it? Do you think it'll be harder to get back on it?
Well, the thing is, we're trying not to get back on it.
I had a friend who said, she had a famous phrase that she used to say all the time. She said, once you pop, you can't stop. Once you pop, that's it, brother.
That's the saying for you.
Man. Okay. Anisha, thank you so much. Nisha said, great discussion. Janutha Great said, have a great evening. Thank you, everyone. Oh my gosh. Charlie said, listen, you can sling and settle down one day.
and that's the lie that we've been told, is like, you can do whatever it is that you want. Like none of your actions right now are going to have any bearing on your future later. And then you get to your future and then you realize, oh no, I've made a great mistake. And so what this generation, I think that we need to tell the new generation coming behind us that, listen, that is a lie. You can't just expect to do whatever it is that you want, and there's no ramifications, none. And that we see it in that, like I said, do your research, figure out what it is. And for men think that, well, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect you as much, but it does affect you as well.
Absolutely.
So that's, don't be out, because I see a lot of men, a lot of my guy friends especially. The thing is, you get so used to variety that when you finally try to settle down, one person can never please you, because then you always remember Sally used to have this, and Susie used to have that over there, and you looking at your poor wife, and she, like, you know what I'm saying, she can't keep up with Sally from down the block. She really, and so you're constantly comparing her to that, and then you'll never be satisfied. So that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to go sleep with Susie on the side, and that's gonna bring a detriment to your marriage. Same thing with women. You don't have all of this. You had Tyrone with the you come to your husband, and he has this here's a little average little thing. It's like, dude, you're not doing anything, bro. Yeah, you're not. Ooh. And so it's hard for you to be satisfied, and you have too many people to compare him to. But if it was just him, and for him it was just her, and you guys got together, for both of you, that would be the best experience that you ever had, period.
Ooh, so lots to think about here. Ashtino said, thank you so much for joining us. He said good night too. So thank you all so much. I want to thank you all on the line here. Bernard, Adina, Tori, Thad. Thank y'all so much, okay? Because I know this conversation, you were being really open, and I really appreciate it, and hope we have more conversations like this. Thank you to everyone on the line who participated. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell someone about the show, and we hope to have more conversations like this, and we'll see you next time, okay? On my comfy couch. Toodles, everyone.